how to run the failed test cases in TestNG, right? So this is also as in a frequently asked interview question, that how would you retry running the failed test cases automatically, right? So there might be some instances, let's say you are having 10 test cases, or you are having 70 or 100 test cases, and out of 100, 70 got passed and remaining 30 got failed. And those failed are actually not the I mean, you are not expecting those test cases to be failed, but just because of some environment issues or some other, some other temporary issues, those test cases are failed, and you want to give them a retry, right? So I mean, in the next attempt, let's say out of 30, remaining 10 are, I mean, out of remaining 30, 10 are passed, right? And I mean, maybe that temporary problem got resolved and the 10 test cases are passed. Or likewise, there could be other figure also. Let's say out of 30, 20 are passed this time, right? So you can implement that using the TestNG. Right? So otherwise, like if the test cases are failed, 30 test cases are failed, and then you are expecting them to be passed, in that case, you will have to run your entire suite again, right? So that will again take a lot of time. But when we implement this IRetryAnalyzer, that will actually automatically invoke the remaining failed test cases only. Okay, it will not invoke the remaining. I mean, whatever the test cases are passed, whatever the 70 test cases are passed, it will not invoke those. It will retry invoking those 30 test cases. Okay, so with this we give up another chance for my test cases to be run. Right, so we can use IRetryAnalyzer to retry your failed test cases again. So as a scenario, if I give, then let's say you have 100 test cases first attempt, and out of those 100, 70 got passed and 30 got failed due to some temporary issue or environment issue. Environmental issue or something, right? So first case could be like, if I don't have any IRetryAnalyzer implemented, then I will have to run those 100 test cases again. But this is gonna take a long time, right? So again, I mean, I'm taking a very short, simple example, as in like 100 test cases only. But in your end-to-end pack, you might be having more than 500 cases or so. So if you rerun those cases, it's gonna take more time, right? It's gonna take double time, right? Double time or more. I mean, too much time. But with the help of IRetryAnalyzer, you can put your with the help of you can just retry executing only failed cases, and this is the test. I mean, the count here, as in like if you want to retry 3 times or 5 times or 10 times, this is the count here. You can those test cases would be retried until those are passed. If your threshold reached up to, let's say you are giving a count as 10, and if that threshold reached to 10, then if it is still failing, then in your test case report, TestNG report, that test case would be marked as failed, right? So only the failed test cases will be executed. Failed test cases, okay, up to the given limit. Okay, and if the test cases is still not passed, then those would be marked as failed in your final report. Okay, so understood, right? And what scenarios it is applicable? Usually we do have this class also, just to retry those field test cases. Okay, now we will go to this Eclipse and then we will see how we can implement that. Okay, so let me let's take it. Let's take this class only because we have two methods here already, and we will just implement our retry analyzer. Okay, which will actually retry. So I will have to create a class, another class in this package, new let's say retry field cases. Okay, and I don't need this main method, and here in this I will implement one interface called IRetryAnalyzer. Implements IRetryAnalyzer dir, and this I have to import from testng, and then this has some unimplemented method, that the retry method. Okay, only one method is there in this IRetryAnalyzer. So if you go to this interface, right, IRetryAnalyzer is an interface name and it has only one method, retry. Okay, now I will have to implement that method. So what I can do, so to implement this method, let's take a variable called int counter equal to initially the counter is 0 and then int retry limit, let's say something called retry limit, which let's say I'm giving as 3 as of now. Okay, and then I test result, then let's say if your counter is less than retry limit, then what you will do, counter plus plus and then return true, else return false. Okay, so yeah, so this is the one. Now I will have to add that at class level. So for that, what I have to do, second, what I have to do for that, with every test, if I do that, so let's put this here, retry analyzer equal to basics dot retry field cases dot class. Okay, so this has to be you know, defined at class test level, because you want to retry the test cases, right? So let me put this for both the methods. and let's keep this at test level. Okay, so I have put the retry analyzer at test level, right? And this is the class I have here. It's a basic retry. Uh, basics is a package name, and then retry field test cases, and then class. Okay, and here I've put the simple logic. I'm starting my counter with 0, and uh, the counter limit, as in like I want to give 3 more attempts after every failed attempt, right? I mean after the first failed attempt. Okay, and it will this method would be run once there is a failed case, and if the counter is 0, then it will check if the counter limit is less than I mean as in the counter is less than the retry limit or not. If it is less than retry limit, then counter would be plus, and then I will get true as in retry, right? So again it would be checked if the next time it is also failed. So if the counter limit is less than 3, then uh, counter would be plus plus, the counter would be added, the one value would be added in the counter, and then again it will return the true. Then again it will retry the test case. So once I reach to this limit, this counter would be, I mean this loop, this block would be executed, and every time I'll get true as return type, and then it would, when the test case would be retried. Once I reach this limit, I will return the false from here, and then the test case would not be executed. Okay, so I am having 2 test cases here, and one is supposedly failed every time, not the SDFC one, right? And then the one is passed, right? So this passed test case will not be retried, but this failed test case would be retried 3 times. So let's see if it is working fine. So let me run as test test and then see what is the behavior here. So this American Express was passed, and that is the reason I guess it would not be retried. Okay, so every time it got failed, can you see the report here? Because this was passed and this test case was failed, and every time we got this timeout exception, right? And because of that, it got failed. First failed, then retried, then retried, then retried. Yeah, so 3 times it retried. Okay, and you can print some message also, as in like whenever there is a failed, you can print this message also. So every time you are retrying, just print some message here. See, so test case failed. And then with plus result dot get name. So it will give you the method name also. Run is, and then okay, let it be there. Yeah, so this time also the one test case is passed and remaining 3 are failed. Got it, Naresh?
Yep.
Yeah, and this we can implement at the suite level also, and for that we use I annotation transformer. And then it's a kind of bit complex you know syntax, so that maybe we can do that while we will be doing the this framework. So as of now you can just make a note like I annotation transformer is used to implement retry logic at suite level. Okay, so this anyways, it's there in your test ng doc. Okay, so this syntax is bit I will have to understand this syntax, then I will let you know. Yeah. So you can prepare this IRetryAnalyzer as of now, because this is frequently asked question in interviews.